Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. Boog Nice coming at you with the Bandai Tamashii Nation's S.H. Figuarts Avengers movie Nick Fury figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
There's a quick look at the artwork on the left side of the box, and there's a look at the right side, and there's a quick frontal view. Let's bust this bad boy open and see what's what. Alright, here we go. The MCU's Nick Fury as played by Samuel L. Jackson, our very first Nick Fury figure in the life of the Avengers line from S.H. Figuarts. Looks to me like this look is based off of his appearances in the first Iron Man movie and the first Avengers movie. Kind of changed up his look a little bit moving forward throughout the rest of the movies that he appeared in the first 10 years of Marvel. And while I do love the variety that SHF has been giving us with the characters from these movies, I have been a little upset with the overall look and the sculpt, their inability to sometimes get the body type of these characters correct in figure form. Everybody seems to be much more slender and shorter than they probably should be in most instances. They've kind of been all over the place with scaling. You know, it's been real hit or miss with a lot of these MCU figures. But if it's one thing that they got right with this particular figure is the head sculpts. They've definitely been better since they've been utilizing this sort of face scanning technology. This looks pretty good. You know, it's not spot on to Samuel Jackson, but it's very good in my opinion. It's easily recognizable as Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. You're not really squinting your eyes to make it kind of look like him. I think this will photograph nicely. I'm on board with this one. Now, as far as the overall buck is concerned and whether or not they nailed Samuel Jackson's likeness in terms of his body type, I don't know about that. The upper torso, the abdomen area kind of looks okay. I think that Samuel Jackson is pretty tall. Obviously, I'll have to stack this guy up next to some of the other figures from this line. It's not awful, but it's also not the greatest. But yeah, in terms of the deco, he's got the long black overcoat. This is sort of like a soft pliable plastic. He's got like a zip-up sweater underneath the belt. See that holster on his right thigh. Boots look pretty good. Pants are blue. Blue, black, silver highlights. Not a bad looking figure overall. Straight out of the package, he comes with 2 fists attached, and you can see he's got the black gloves on the fist, and you can see his brown skin underneath. I'm happy to see brown skin on the wrist pegs here and on that neck peg. I may be able to kit bash something out of this guy or with this guy that I've been wanting to do for a while. I'll get to that later. But in terms of other gloved hands, he has the right and left hand that has the trigger finger extended. You saw that he has a holster on his right side, so obviously he does come with a pistol. I'll break that out. So yeah, he is packed in with what looks like a Glock here, I guess, and he can hold it in either hand, no issues there. It can also be holstered, no issues there. And then he's got 2 open hands with the fingers spread that are gloved. And then he's got a couple of sets of ungloved hands, which include another set that are open with the fingers spread, a set of fists, and 1 additional right hand with the pointer finger extended. And then just to give you one more good look at this head sculpt, here's that neck peg. Head and neck move separately from each other too. And then he has an additional head sculpt that's not really much different from the other one, and this is really garbage. This is trash about SHF that they do this. They give you a whole nother head sculpt where the eyes are just looking another way. Come on, you can't do that. You got to give us a whole new expression. This is cheap. It's not right for a premium figure, for a figure that is an import that costs more than a regular $20 figure. If you're going to give an additional head sculpt, then make it an additional head sculpt. But anyway, the eye here is looking to his right a little bit, to our left right here, and this is just silliness. But as far as picture taking goes and maybe doing panels and, you know, things like that, it works when the eyes are in a different direction. But in terms of value, this is not really worth much more than the 1 head sculpt we got. They could have kept the additional head sculpt for all of that and just given us some more accessories. They could have kept the additional head and given us a extra set of arms where you could pop these arms off, remove the jacket, and have them with a jacketless look. Now, you can remove this jacket if you want, but it's not going to look right because you will still have the sleeved arms. But in terms of articulation, you saw the head and neck move separately from each other. You get a good range, left to right, pivot, full 360 if you wanted to do that. Shoulders on a ball joint, it'll come up that far. You can do a full 360. There is a butterfly joint in there, upper bicep swivel, single hinged elbow that will rotate on that joint a little bit too, slightly. Swivel and a hinge on the wrist. Same thing on both sides as far as the arms go. You know, with these imports, you may have to pop the hand off and then swivel the wrist to the position you want it, and according to how you want to kind of cock the hand. Pause. Upper torso articulation, you can move them around there. You can move them at the lower abdomen as well. Turn them left to right at the upper torso and at the lower abdomen. This pelvic piece is very soft. You can get the legs up pretty far. Looks like there's a barbell joint in there. You can rotate at the upper thigh. Single hinged knee. That gives you a little bit more than 90 degrees though. Rotate at the foot. There's a pivot. And there's a hinge on the foot as well. Pretty decent articulation. You can get him into some decent poses, but you know, when you start really trying to crouch him and what have you, his jacket is just going to be sticking out to the back, so that's an issue. All right, a couple quick size comparisons. Let's have a little fun here. You may hear some clipping in the background. My my assistants are putting together some 1/12 scale tables. Really, they're not really 1/12 scale, but I showed them on my Instagram last night. Something will be popping up here. But all kind of Tony Stark Iron Man figures here, as Fury did appear in Iron Man 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. But on the far left, we have the Mark 1 Iron Man armor, the very first one we saw him build in the cave in the first Iron Man movie. It's actually the first time that I opened this, I believe. Ironically, Mark 1 was the last one that we got to complete our Mark 1 through 7 haul of armor, and I'll get a display for that going at some point. And then going right, we have the first Tony Stark figure that they put out. That's the stock head. I normally don't use the stock head on this version. I normally use the head on the far right. We'll get to that. And then going right again, we have the birth of Iron Man, a birth of Tony Stark. I forget what the actual tag name was on the box, but this was our third kind of Tony Stark figure, I guess. This one came where you could actually swap out the upper torso. And then we got Nick Fury here, who is a little taller than Tony Stark, as he should be. I kind of feel like Samuel should be just a tad bit taller, but there's that. And then we have the Mark III Iron Man armor, which was from the first Iron Man movie. And then on the far right is the Mark IV Iron Man armor from Iron Man 2. And this one came with 2 additional faceplates for Tony Stark. I think this one here with the shades is the best unmasked or unhelmeted Iron Man head that we've received. And normally I'll use this one on the first Tony Stark body or the regular version without the shades, but that's how Tony Stark / Iron Man stacks up here with Nick Fury. Real quick, there's that. That's the upper torso that was packed in with the birth of Iron Man Tony Stark figure. This is the additional upper torso that came with the figure back there in the full suit, and you can see that additional head sculpt. I actually just sat the upper torso on the legs from the first Tony Stark figure. It's not actually popped on the peg. Not sure if you can pop it onto that pelvic peg, but there's that. And then here's a couple more. This is the Mark 7 Iron Man armor that came packed in with the Hall of Armor part. This is actually my first time taking this figure out of the box. That's on the left there. Now we're supposed to be getting an Avengers assembled Mark 7 Iron Man, I believe. I think that actually already came out, but I don't think I'm going to pick up that. I think I'm going to just stick with this one on the left. I swapped on the additional head sculpt for the birth of Iron Man suited Tony Stark here, and then I just put the Mark 4 armor back up there with the same head sculpt. And there's a look at that, the Mark 4 unmasked sunglasses head on the birth of Iron Man suited body here. That the head won't actually pop on the peg, so it's just kind of sitting on there. But I like that look. And now on the far left, we have the Iron Man 2 movie. I believe this is the Mark 1 War Machine armor, which is quite possibly one of the first Figuarts figures that I got. And then I left the Mark 7 armor in. I added in Captain America. This is the Avengers Endgame Captain America Cap versus Cap version. And then I just recently got this Thor. This is the Avengers Assemble Thor. This is the first time that they gave us this particular costume for Thor from Avengers 1 and I guess from the first Thor movie too, if I'm not mistaken. This figure is actually really nice. They've got the wired soft goods cloak. Yeah, this one is nice. Maybe I'll review them, I don't know. But I wanted to see how the big three look together there. Iron Man, Cap, and Thor, the MCU version at least. I don't know, maybe Thor should be just a bit taller, but he is taller than Fury. He is the tallest out of the big three Avengers, so I guess that makes sense. Iron Man's a little larger than Cap in the armor. That makes sense. Fury's pretty tall, so I don't know. I guess these look okay. And then on the far right, one of my most hated SHF figures is the Captain Marvel figure, but I wanted to see how she looked next to Fury. I know a lot of you incels hate Captain Marvel. But there's that. And then we got an all unmasked look here. On the far left is actually a custom Rhodey head. Shout out to my man Adrian Beltran. Shout out to the Beltran bros. But I do want to actually try to get Rhodey on some sort of suited body. That's why I was happy that we had the brown hands and neck peg from Nick Fury here. So I'm going to try to work that out at some point. I don't know if it'll be in this video. But yeah, I put the Mark IV armor back in there. This is the unmasked head for Captain America. And then I kept Thor in there. Thor does have another faceplate, but again, it's one of these situations with the eyes just looking the opposite way. So, and then on the far right is the Age of Ultron Black Widow. We don't have the Avengers 1 Black Widow yet. I guess they may release her under the Avengers Assemble banner at some point. We'll see. All right, one more and I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm sure I'm like well over 10-12 minutes by now. But on the left is the Avengers Infinity War Hulk, one of the best 6-inch Hulks we've ever received. Hopefully the Avengers Assembled version will be just as good, if not better. And then I have the Far From Home Spider-Man. I think Far From Home was the first time that Nick Fury and Spider-Man met on camera. We've got Loki. And then on the right, I have the right pointing finger from Nick Fury here on one of the bodies of the comedians from the SHF Downtown duo. And then I just sat the head on the neck. It doesn't fit on that peg, but if I do swap out this neck with a brown neck, it may work. Maybe Fury's neck may work. And then I use the black gloved hand from Fury. That would work for this character or this body if you want to do like a bank robber or something like that. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Fury's a decent figure, something that you may want to get, if not to use as is, but to use you know, for the additional parts and stuff like that. But he does actually scale pretty well and can be utilized with a lot of the Avengers figures that we've received so far. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell down there, and until next time, peace.
I'm in the game, I'm grinding, I got to play 24 hours in a day, 7 days out the week, I never sleep. I'm on my grizzly bear, 52 weeks out the year.